Right.
How you figure out that idea? Ki, this is a viable idea or not?
You need, some wise men around you, or wise women, wise people around you, right? Wise people around you to help you guide, understand, validate, verify, and then probably move on to the next stage, right? So if there is a very pertinent problem your idea is trying to solve, if you solve it, whether someone will pay you for it or not, right? And if they will pay you, whether that payment will be more than how much effort or cost you will be putting in.
First check your customer is ready to prepay for that solution. Can your user is putting some deposit? If you build it, I will buy this product. Third is he is interested in signing the letter of intent. If you build it, I will for sure going to buy it.
Right. Got this idea and got talking with my co-founder Anand. He was working at Mothers. So COP26 essentially is the biggest climate event, global climate event that happens, where all countries, everybody would fly down, discuss about the policies, pledges that we want to reduce, we want to do this for the environment and so on, right?
Hi Akshay, how are you? How's the life going on?
Hi Gaurav. Everything is going fine. How about you?
I'm doing amazing here.
Right.
So I love to hear about your journey, what you've done so far in your career. Okay, how after IIM you and what you've done so far. I love to hear about your journey.
Right, and first of all, thanks for having me here. Very excited. So yeah, my journey has been like any other, a typical engineer MBA guy in India, right? So pre-MBA, it was more on the side of IT and all. Started my career with Infosys. So typical IT engineer, getting into IIMs and then taking there, doing the career transition, and then from there exploring new things every time, you are in a job. So just kept exploring. So started my career with a company called Sun Pharmaceuticals. There I joined as a general management cadre, management training. Left them as senior brand manager, senior product manager for one of the products that they were building. Post that, I understood that when I was in my management training, it was very clear that, and within management training, the program structure was very, very fluid, right? So every 4 months you have to spend with one of the leaders, do some strategic initiative there, and then based on your outcomes, you get your grading, and then next things used to happen, right? So it was like you'll work in plant, you'll work in sales, you'll work in marketing, you'll work in maybe in international business, in your sourcing business, and so on, right? So that is what was happening, and that gave me a flavor that this is not something for me that I want to do only one thing my whole life, right? That won't be possible, right? So that is when I decided I would move into consulting. So I joined this boutique consulting firm called Takshila Consulting, and from there I went to Middle East to work with large banks on digital transformation projects. Did really well over there. Came back to India, joined PwC. Left them as principal consultant, again digital transformation, tech. Then joined Max Bupa Health Insurance as their product innovation chief manager. Worked with a lot of startups over there. So my role was very, very interesting. So I used to work with startups, identify areas of insurance life cycle where they can be plugged in, and then get those implementation done as pilots. And if it something gets is successful, then we take it to the next level, like commercial level and so on, right? So idea was to give startups also a place to do pilots, right? Paid pilots and so on. So worked with a lot of AI startups then. So got flavor of AI. This was back in 2019. So got flavor of AI, classical AI, as well as all Gen AI and everything that was happening at that point of time. Then moved to Airtel, joined their IoT product management team, worked on eSIM products and all over there. And then post Airtel, and Airtel was COVID period, right? So there was no office, right? So I'm a person who wants to go to office, right? I like to go to office, have people around me working, and sort of inspiration, right? I can't sit at home and then work, right? Because there's no inspiration around you, right? So Airtel was all COVID time. Tata 1mg opportunity came. I was hired to build their B2B product. So joined them, started working on it, and then again the team emerged, and a lot of people joined alongside, and so on. But that was a great experience working at 1mg. Very fast-paced environment, hardcore product management, and at the same time e-commerce flavor, right? So seeing the transaction happening in the real time, the Slack messages and all coming and saying, okay, this is what today's sales is and so on. So very inspiring, very motivating. So I learned a lot, worked with great people over there. And then this, my batchmate from my MBA days, Anand, he was heading Motherson's global logistics and packaging vertical. He had an idea, right? And we had been talking. So since college days, we had a WhatsApp group of 4 of us, and it's called idea synthesis. So we would have ideas that we would put in there, and then 4 of us will discuss whether this is a viable idea or not. And this was happening for like years now, right? And then Anand shared his idea, and then we started talking that okay, he's trying to build something like this. And so I'll get into what we built and how we built and all, but just how it started. And it was a pure operations startup, execution heavy, and domain understanding was required. And I was like, yeah, I don't have as such role to play in this as of now, but I can help, right? And then help turned into something more interesting. We started building tech around it and to bring scalability and so on. And then I got more involved, and then finally jumped the ship, right? So this is how it happened, and it's been now 3.5 years with the venture that we have built, and it has scaled really well. We were almost 5-6 people when we started. Now we are 120 almost
That's
pan
great.
India. So yeah, it gives a very good feeling, and we are doing something for the environment, earth, very sustainability focused. So from that perspective as well, it is a very fulfilling journey it has been. Though struggle of a founder is still there, like every day, day in, day out, Saturday, Sunday, doesn't really matter, 10 o'clock in the night, 4 o'clock in the morning, doesn't really matter what time it is. If work is supposed to be done, it will be done. So yeah, that's been the journey, and very fulfilling, very happy where we are at today. And
I will say one thing. Okay, when you graduated from really good institutions, that is the biggest advantage you have. Ki you enter into those kinds of role, generalist kinds of role,
Right,
where
right.
you are working with marketing team, sales,
Right.
product,
Right.
HR as well. So you are working with every single team,
Right.
and that give you really great exposure.
Right.
I will tell you, I directly started my career into product, similar like you. I seen in my first job, I've seen 100 crore rupees of revenue that team of 20-15 people
Sure.
is doing from one single
Sure.
office, daily office. That was an amazing
Sure.
experience. You also mentioned that
Right.
you guys have one group where
Right.
you do idea synthesis.
Right.
How you figure out that idea? Ki, yaar, this is a viable idea or not?
It's a very good question. Look, when your child is always precious to you, no matter
Yeah,
how they are,
definitely.
right? So same goes with ideas, right? Whenever you have an idea, you will feel कि यार ये तो दुनिया बदल देगा, right? But that's why you need, some wise men around you, or wise women, wise people around you, right? Wise people around you to help you guide, understand, validate, verify, and then probably move on to the next stage, right? So how do you find out ideas? It's very simple, right? If there is a very pertinent problem your idea is trying to solve, if you solve it, whether someone will pay you for it or not, right? And if they will pay you, whether that payment will be more than how much effort or cost you will be putting in. If it passes these 3, you should definitely go ahead and start, right? Rest of the things will follow, whether your distribution, whether you are mode, whether you are not. Of course, you will have those ideas only when you are into some sort of domain, you have understanding, and hence you were able to come up with that idea, right? So basic hygiene would be that domain understanding is there. You are not, so for example, today if someone says let's start business in F1 racing, I don't know anything about F1. I can't even understand, the engineering that goes into it, or even if I have to build a startup around electronics or some sort of consulting or something around it, even the road structure that they have in the F1 circuits, I can't do anything of that because I don't understand it, right? So even if someone comes to me and say, hey, validate my idea for this, I will say I don't know, right? So the problem has to be generic enough as well that you can reach to masses. There has to be a huge market for it, right? A lot of people should be facing that problem, right? It should not be something कि मुझे ये दिक्कत हो रही है आज तो मैं इस पे एक startup बना देता हूँ. That should not be the criteria. It should be something कि यार it is a widespread problem, it is a known problem. इसीलिए 4 लोग, right? So 4 people are around you. वो 4 लोग कुछ तो बोलेंगे, अब वो 4 लोगों ने बोल दिया कि नहीं सही है तो चलो करते हैं, That is the idea.
I will tell you 3-step strategy to validate idea.
Right.
First, check your customer is ready to prepay for that solution.
Mm.
If he's ready to prepay, you are solving a really big problem. Or if he's not prepaying, can your user is putting some deposit? If you build it, I will buy this product. Third is he is interested in signing the letter of intent. If you build it, I will for sure going to buy it.
Right.
If that is not also happening,
Right.
he's showing some strong interest. If that is also not happening, you are trying to solve a wrong problem. Be very honest about it.
Right.
So that is how the markets are. That is how you should validate a idea, according to me. So I love to hear about the problem which you are currently solving at Fitsol. How's the journey going on? Yeah.
Right. So, as I said, Fitsol, we got this idea and got talking with my co-founder Anand. He was working at Motherson, and Motherson at COP26. So COP26 essentially is the biggest climate event, global climate event that happens, where all countries, everybody would fly down, discuss about the policies, pledges that we want to reduce, we want to do this for the environment and so on, right? So the COP26 is when organizations would say, okay, we want to become net zero, or we take a pledge to reduce our carbon footprint or our environmental impact and so on, right? So these kind of discussions happen. So their organization had taken a pledge in COP26. And of course, the idea, behind carbon footprint reduction and so on, also we need to understand where it is coming from, right? So for a manufacturing company, typically the most of the emissions are lying in outside their control. Because say for example, I am Maruti Suzuki, right? I will take parts from my suppliers, put it on my assembly line, assemble the car and sell it, right? So very little transformation is happening, though there will be some transformation, some proprietary development or production will be happening within my facilities, but most of it will be done by my suppliers, right? So all the energy consumption around producing those parts, building those parts, transporting those parts to my facility where the assembly is going to happen has already happened. So bulk of the activity is outside my premises, which is called scope 3, and hence most of the emissions for a manufacturing companies, barring few like iron and steel or cement industries and so on, where process heavy or chemically you are emitting CO2 and all, or ammonia industries and all, most of the manufacturing companies will have their highest emission in scope 3, right? Logistics and packaging fall in scope 3, right? Because you work with your suppliers, vendors and so on. So Anand had his own mandate that for his vertical he had to reduce. So when he went into the market to identify whether there will be someone who can help him with reduction and identifying opportunities to reduce even, he could not find anyone, right? That was execution heavy, because as an operator you would not want, you can hire maybe a consulting firm, they will come create a blue book for you, okay, this is what you need to sort of implement, but that implementation capability should exist. That implementation level bandwidth should exist within the organization, right? We will not want to spend more for something which might happen, right? So you always look for someone who can come in and implement also, right? So that was the gap he saw. That is what we discussed, that there is a gap. If an organization like $12 billion organization like Motherson is talking about it right now, and this was 4.5 years back, 20. So last November we had COP30. So it is COP26 is what we are talking about. That is where he got this idea that let's do it. So he left his job. He said that let me try whatever I was trying to get done, right? So he worked with a couple of organizations in his network, right? And he had been in industry like 16 years in supply chain, hardcore operator, right? Built businesses, scaled businesses and so on. So he went into this mode of experimenting, doing pilots, and the first invoice was raised in July 2022. So April 22 we started, like incorporated the company, and July 22 first invoice was raised. And then rest after that, once it was validated, invoice is raised, as you were saying, right? Someone should be ready to pay for it. The payment came, right? And inherently it is profitable because you will have your margins. Though you are asset light, you do not own the trucks or EV trucks or diesel trucks or whatever packaging assets. You are asset light. You have partners who will fulfill the service on your behalf, but the quality of service will be owned by you. The interface with customer will be you, right? So that is how it started, and then uh, uh, to get the scale, you need some sort of technology intervention, right? You can keep doing, but let's say you have one customer today, second customer, third customer. You can't keep hiring people to give updates, do follow-ups, create visibility, right? So the uh, operations and execution heavy businesses rely on keen observability, right? You should have telemetry in place, which you are able to capture and then pass on to your customer, so that customer also understands कि हाँ सब हो रहा है, as promised, things are working as per SLA and so on, right? So that is where we started talking, right? And we were already talking. We knew, like I knew that Anand has already got into this and so on, and we were discussing how I can help and so on. And I was working with Tata 1MG at that time, and then we started working on the tech sideways. So after I will reach home from Tata 1MG job, 10 o'clock I'll sit. I'll start working on certain requirements, coding, whatnot. Then we hired an agency because that time we did not have enough money to have full-time engineers, right? So we hired an agency. We started working with them, started developing some sort of tool where we can give visibility to our customers and so on, and that followed, right? So customers really appreciated the way we were looking at the entire transportation and packaging vertical as such, where the core was sustainability, right? So as I said, the idea is to reduce your carbon footprint, right, through your operations. Inherently, operations that are happening today are suboptimal in nature, right, because you cannot control all the variables. As soon as it is suboptimal, you will be emitting more than you should, right? So if you have to reduce, optimize your operations, right? So that is the core tenet what we do. We work with organizations to optimize their supply chain. First, identify where are the emissions, highest emissions, which supplier is emitting more than others, which part of operations is emitting more than others. Then we couple it with the cost, right? So we say, okay, we will give you as an outcome, twofold outcome. It's called TCO square. Total cost optimization and total carbon optimization.
Okay.
If both do not happen in the decision matrix, we don't offer the service.
Okay.
So unless it is an optimized solution which will give you visibility of your saved carbon emission, we will not.
You definitely having a dashboard where you show.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And what I feel ki when the company Fitsol bring you, certainly your major role was to develop the dashboard, handle the tech team,
Right.
Suggesting what you should
Correct.
build. And that is how the organization scales. The
Correct.
technology certainly helps. I will tell you one thing,
Right.
because we both are founders now. Coming from a product background,
Right.
how I started. My journey started like very simple. Ki I start just posting content on
Right.
LinkedIn. People
Right.
start reaching out to me. I start helping them with my job. I remember I was sitting in my office. It was a co-working space. The whole team goes. So then I sit for 11 p.m. in the night.
Right.
11 p.m., 12 p.m. I go to my home. Then I came back 9 a.m. in the morning. So that is how life looked like for a couple of months. Then I decided that I cannot do it.
Right.
14, 15 hours per day. It's like intense. Then I decided that let's give a shot.
Right.
And that is how things started for me.
Right.
Yeah. So you guys are now expanding.
Correct.
Okay. And certainly I love those companies which are expanding, targeting global.
Right.
I will tell you one thing. We are now also targeting. Okay, currently we are top 5 players in India, but now we are targeting like top 5 players in world.
Nice.
Especially on LinkedIn as a vertical.
Very
If
nice.
I talk about, that is the whole vision.
Right.
Okay. And I'm planning to bring 100 smart folks from the market, like heads of product of billion-dollar companies, founders, and that is how you learn.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And that is how you create an impact.
Correct.
This is how things are going on. By the way, how you're scaling, what are the scaling strategies? I love to hear.
Right. Typically, so we have 4 co-founders, Anand, me, and 2 ex-colleagues of Anand joined us later as co-founders as well. So our idea was that everybody who's joining us should have skin in the game at the highest possible, so at CXO level. Otherwise, it is not going to be, we don't want employees. We want people who have skin in the game, who have that owner mindset, who have, high accountability, high standards, right? So and that is where so Sunil was working with Prozo. It's also a supply chain startup, ex-TVS supply chain, Mahindra supply chain, and so on, right? So around 17, 18 years of again supply chain experience before Fitsol. Vikas was VP supply chain at Hindware. Supply chain leader at Hero Motocorp, JK Tires, and so on, right? So again, 22 years of supply chain experience, great pedigree. He's also from IIM Lucknow, so he's from Great Lakes. So good pedigree, good folks, good connect in the market, right? That really helped us to identify who would be our target customers, right? Our customers also supported us because we had been associated with them in the past and all as well, right? So that really helped us scale very fast in a short period of time. So say for example, first year we did X, second year we did almost 2.5x, third year we did almost 3x, fourth year this year we have closed at 2.5x in terms of growth, revenue growth.
2.5x.
5x. So almost 2 to 3x growth every year is what we have done since we started, right? And this year also we are targeting almost 2 to 3x growth, right? Now, where has this growth come from? Again, one of the customers that we started in 2022 that I was talking about. So that was not the first invoice, second invoice basically. We started with them at a business value of 1 lakh per month.
Okay.
4 years back, 3.5 years back, let's say that. And today we are doing almost 1.3 CR per month in revenue with them. So a lot of people ask us that you're doing logistics, you're doing packaging, right? How is it a recurring business model? Because as you rightly said, right, someone has to pay and then keep paying also. It has to be. It's an investable business when there is a promise of repeat purchase. If repeat purchase is not there, your cost of acquiring your customers will be very high. So how will you get profitable at any point of time in future will be always questionable, right? So in our set of things that we offer, right? So let me just also say how we offer things and how we work with organizations. So we have a 3-layered approach with organizations, right? The first layer is the carbon intelligence layer, right, which is technology driven, where all the data comes, right? So and this data is not only customers data, there's suppliers data. Now this supplier data could be existing in multiple formats. They might have ERP, they might not have ERP, they might have Excel, they might have PDFs and whatnot. All that data comes to our platform, gets cleaned up automatically, gets ingested into the system automatically, and then gets converted into carbon equivalent data form, right? Once carbon data form is created, then you have second stage is identifying the hotspots, right? Where the bulge is, where the most emission is lying, be it at supplier level or maybe at your activity level. We identify that, and then on top of this data, we have operational intelligence layer, right? So for example, so the operational intelligence layer will look at these hotspots and then churn out recommendation. So for example, on logistics. So logistics as an area, as I said, highest emitting, one of the highest emitting categories in scope 3. If it is suboptimal in nature, it will show in your data, right? The anomalies will be present that, okay, some route you are doing excessive, shipments versus the demand, right? You can probably consolidate the demand and reduce the number of trips. Or maybe within a shipment also, you are transporting X number of parts or X unit of goods, and only 60% container utilization is there and more air is going into your shipments. Can you reduce it, right? So this is like on the green logistics side of things. Similarly, on the green packaging, for example, you are using single-use packaging, corrugated boxes, wooden pallets and so on for your shipments. Now can we replace them with returnable, reusable packaging, right? There might be some upfront investment, but your total cost of ownership will go down. So these are certain scenarios. You are generating some sort of scrap metal as part of your production process, or scrap plastic, or maybe within your raw material bill of materials, there is a raw material for which a ready supply of recycled material is available. So your obligations go down, your cost of sourcing goes down, you get more reliability. For example, West Asia conflict, aluminium prices have gone almost 3x, plastic prices have gone almost 3x. Recycled prices not, right? Recycled prices are within your ecosystem itself, right? Now suddenly people are saying, क्या दे दो, जितना recycled है दे दो, है तो मतलब हम ले लेंगे, right? So the sudden demand and so this is in a way, I would say, for our kind of business or for sustainability, right? Though the emissions would be happening because of the war and these kind of situations, But still, for us, recycled product demand has suddenly increased. So that is a very good signal for us, and that is a very good thing for us also, being in our business, right? So these are certain recommendation. Now, when these recommendations are seen by the customer, next step would be that, okay, whether you will pay for this recommendation or not. We are giving you visibility of TCO square, cost optimization as well as carbon optimization. Now, whether this is acceptable to you, if it is acceptable to you, we will come and implement it for you, right? So that this becomes a full stack decarbonization play from our side. That right from data synthesis to intelligence to recommendation to execution, right? And that is where that is our defensibility also. And we have being except me, I'm the black sheep of the family. I come from a tech and product background, but rest everyone is a hardcore supply chain operator from a founder perspective. They have done this day in day out, right? They understand this business like anything. So the core execution capabilities of high standards are already there, and that is what is separating us from other sustainability focused decarbonization or carbon accounting firms that are existing today, because they are more like a consulting firms, automated, that okay, compliance, this compliance you are not done, do it, validation layer, do it, right? But we say no, we will do it.
And certainly, if you see after the AI is coming, the technology is coming, these consulting companies are facing a lot of challenges. If you see, McKinsey is currently not hiring. ठीक है, मतलब very close friend of mine recently said this thing कि यार Gaurav, getting a job into McKinsey is far much harder than raising $1 million for a startup, or maybe going to Shark Tank, because McKinsey is not hiring right now.
Correct.
So that is how the markets are evolving.
Right.
And I think by these kinds of conflict, you mentioned that the recycled products are now getting more used.
Right.
Due to that, you have seen a spike in the sales as well. That will people continue to buy recycled product, because once they start using it, that will be helpful. My second question to you is, you guys have recently raised more than $1 million.
Correct.
Okay. Who should raise the money? That is my first question. And second question is, how to raise the money?
Right.
Okay. It's very, very important, because they go and be very honest about it in Indian perspective. India does not have a lot of money.
Right.
People does not have a lot of money. Startups does not have money. Business does not have.
Right.
There are two ways to finance anything.
Right.
One is raising the money. Second is taking the loan.
Right.
How any person can raise $1 million for their startup in next, let's say, 1 year?
Very, very pertinent question. So, if you see, there is money existing in the market. Right?
Definitely.
VCs exist for a reason, right? They want to give good returns to their investors, and hence they scout for as many promising startups as they could, and then based on that they invest money into them, right? Whether you should raise money or not as a startup totally depends on your economics, right? So, for example, so let's say it this way, that economics is one aspect, and then defensibility is the other aspect, right? So, let's say I want to start a business which is highly defensible, so some IP related. So, I'm working on, let's say, a very novel technology. Say, for example, I'm building a space tech company, for example, right, where I will have to do a lot of R&D. I'll have to do a lot of research before I could commercialize my offerings and so on. It might take 3 to 4 years, right? So, which means that unless you have a commercialized acceptable product in the market who someone will pay for, you do not have any avenues to invest into research as well, right? But that idea, or you have the pedigree. So, for example, I can't say today that I will build a rocket, right? I don't have a pedigree, right? Nobody will give me money for that also, right? So, domain expertise, very important. Craft understanding, very important. And the idea and viability of that idea based on your pitch should be very important, right? So, in these scenarios where deep research is required or upfront money is required before you will start making money, you should raise funds, right? Why would you raise funds? Of course, you would need more hands on the deck, right? you would need you would want to procure certain input material for your research work or for your experiments and so on, or you might want to do some sort of marketing GTM plays. You might need to invest some money before you can. So, for example, your product is a very highly regulated product, for example, and you want to sell it in, let's say, Europe, right? Let's say you've made some synthesized some chemical, right, for some application, and huge demand in Europe. But there are certain regulations in Europe. Even to jump over that regulatory barrier, you might have to spend some hundreds and thousands of euros. If you are starting 20, 21-year-old, how would you have that kind of money with you, right? It's very difficult. So it totally depends what kind of product, what kind of idea you have, whether it requires upfront money to be able to become commercially viable or not. Then you should definitely go and raise money, right? Second is the defensibility part. Now you have an idea, right? But that idea it's a very generic idea, right? It's not a deep tech, deep research focused idea. And so, say for example, you want to start an e-commerce company today of a certain type, right? How would you create moat around it? What will be your defensibility? There is no entry barrier. Drop shipping has been happening for a very long time. Quick commerce is happening, but still more and more startups are coming, and they are getting funded also, right? Because the market side is such, right? The market is so huge that there is room for everyone and a lot of people to play together, right? Nobody can have a monopolistic play in the market, right? But how would you capture that kind of market as soon as possible? So in those scenarios, then you should go and raise funds, right? Yeah, but yeah, this is why who should raise fund depends on the either creating defensibility or it's already defensible, but to make it commercial you need money. So these are the two areas where you should think about.
I will tell you one thing. You mentioned about e-commerce. Indian e-commerce market currently, if you calculate, the size is $50 billion approx.
Right.
American is approximately $1,100 billion. China is $1,150 billion.
Correct.
That kind of scope is in the market.
Correct.
In next 20 years, India will be in e-commerce only domain. It will be more than $1,000 billion market for sure. It is going to happen. Nowadays, I will tell you, my father is bringing more parcel than me. So my father parcels are coming on regular basis. He is loving these products.
Right.
So that is how markets are currently leveling. And if you see earlier, my parents have never. If you see in last 2 years, my father started using online payments. He start buying products online. Now that is a change I'm seeing in the market, and a lot of those people from that bucket are start creating internet-based companies as well. That is how markets are evolving. I will just tell you one thing, but is my perspective raising startup funds as well. My perspective is very simple. On day one, you should focus on building the distribution. Why I'm saying it? If you have a good distribution, money will for sure going to come. Not on day one, maybe day 10, day 20, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year. If you have a good distribution, for sure money is going to come. And distribution is currently, it's not that hard to build if you compare to raising a fund.
Right.
When you raise a fund, that person also have an expectations.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
And if you build a distribution, what I feel it is going to help you a lot.
Correct.
Okay. मतलब डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन बना लो, पैसा आ जाएगा कहीं ना कहीं से. ठीक है, that is my viewpoint. My another question to you is, let's say a 25-year-old guy is planning to build a 100 crore startup. What should be the roadmap for him according to you?
Right. So look, as a 25-year-old, right, my ability to take risk is very high, right? Couple of things that I always tell people that who interact with me and so on, right? Don't be too you should be obsessed about solving the problem, but also don't be too emotionally attached with the product or the process or the business that you are building, right? Startups pivot all the time, right? It's not that I've started building something, I raise funds, it did not work, I should instantly pivot, right? I should have that. So that is a very core aspect of a founder, right? They understand the opportunity and grab it, right? If they understand and they see that this opportunity is not going to give them returns, they should be ready to pivot, right? So that is something, a very keen thought process that you should start with, right? So as a 25-year-old, my risk taking capability is very high. I will go in. I have an idea, right? I will start building today, right? So, and today building is not as difficult as it was 2 to 3 years ago, right? So if I had to build a product, say for example, e-commerce you were talking about, right? Though distribution is physical operations and so on, which can also happen. As a 25-year-old, if I have a driving license and I have a scooty or an e-scooter, I should be able to manage the distribution at least at a hyper local stage, right? Now, but to build that e-commerce platform so that people will start placing orders and all is not so difficult now. It is difficult. It's not that it is absolutely seamless and you will be able to do it in a day or a couple of hours.
I will be very honest with you. I can assure you, you can build a amazing website for e-commerce in couple of hours.
You can. Look, the idea is that it is not. Look, you have to check for coding hygiene as well, right?
Now,
So there are challenges, vulnerabilities are there, right? You have to take care of that. So even so, if you see, most of the code now at large tech companies are being written by AI, but equally being reviewed by people and AI as well, right? It's not that I'm writing and then I'm pushing it into the Git. Right now I'm maybe coding, but I'm reviewing it also. Maybe I could not have written 1100 lines of code in a day. Today I can very easily in couple of minutes. So my most of the times will go into reviewing, testing, and those kind of things, right? And then at some point of time, these things will also be automated for sure. The vulnerabilities that exist will keep getting resolved, and maybe another 2-3 years along, probably yes, in within couple of hours you should be able to build an app and host it, deploy it, and so on.
App, yeah. It will take 2 to 3 years to build an app and deploy, but website we can do.
Website you can do, but still website also, if you want to have e-commerce and want people to pay money trustfully, right, it has to have all those aspects taken care of. So that is the intention, right? So making it easy, right? But again, there is no defensibility. As you said, in this scenario, distribution will be your defensibility. So for an e-commerce thing, right, in my opinion, there are 3 things that you will solve for, largely for a customer, 3 problems. One problem is your price transparency, right? The price what you are showing on your platform should be the price customer should be paying at the end of the day, right? And customer should be able to decide whether I want to buy it from this e-commerce platform or this e-commerce platform, depending on what pricing each e-commerce platform is giving me, right? Second is the delivery transparency. Okay, once you've purchased the order, you will get it in as per the SLA. 6 मिनट बोला है जेप्टो ने तो 6 मिनट के अंदर आ गया. 6 मिनट में नहीं आएगा तो डिसोसिएशन होगा कि यार मे बी सर्विस इज नॉट ग्रेट, राइट? सो दैट इज अनदर एस्पेक्ट ऑफ इट. थर्ड थिंग इज योर पोस्ट सेल्स सर्विस, राइट? सो फॉर एग्जाम्पल कुछ खराब हो गया, right, and you are not able to refund, or you are not able to provide the same quality assurance that you had shown on your website. That is where things will go downhill for you. So these are the 3 core problems from an e-commerce perspective or any other, so any marketplace that you are building. These are the 3 core promises or problem statements from a from a customer's vantage point is what you need to solve for, right? If you are able to solve it, right, good. Second step will be, are you able to solve it at scale? 1 के लिए तो सॉल्व कर दी, राइट? क्या 10 के लिए कर सकते हो? ठीक है, 10 के लिए भी कर दी. क्या 100 के लिए कर सकते हो? 100 के लिए कर दी. क्या 1000 के लिए कर सकते हो? So as soon as you start hitting scale, the chinks in your armor start to show up, right? And that is where it truly differentiates you from others, if you are able to handle it at scale, the challenges that you are facing, and how quickly you are able to solve it for your customers, right? So this is what, as a 25-year-old, I have to be very clear. I need to know what I am promising my customer. I will execute it. I will ensure that I am not faltering on my promises, and at the same time I'm thinking of scale. I'm thinking that I'm solve problem for X number of people. Can I do it for 10x? Can I do it for 100x? Can I do it for 1000x? And so on. And then for that you will need to keep building the distribution, your supplier network, your sourcing, your working capital requirements, whatever it needs to fulfill your promises to your customer and solve it at scale. So these 2 things you will have to have it in your roadmap all the time. The rest of the things should follow.
Definitely. What I also feel when you're building a startup, it should be like a problem which you've personally faced.
Sure.
And my another question to you is, okay, let's say, what should be the ideal career path according to you? as a person, let's say who's around 25,
Hmm.
he should directly go into startup or matlab, do a startup of his own, or he should work into some company for a couple of years and then start something of his own. What do you think? What should be the ideal roadmap for that person?
Yeah, it totally depends, right? For example, if I have a safety net, like my parents have enough, right? And even if I fail,
What do you mean by enough?
enough as in to sustain, right? To support me, even if I'm not earning. Say, for example,
Let's say 20,000 rupees per month.
no, not even 20,000 rupees. So, whatever. So, for example, my expenses are right now 20,000, let's say, per month, right? For my rent, whatnot, and so on, right? So, for my survival, I need 20,000 rupees every day, right? I can take risk today. If I'm 20-year-old also, I can take risk and start my venture. If I know that my parents will keep giving me 20,000 for, let's say, next 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, or till whenever, right? If that confidence, that safety net exists, I will take risk. I'll do a lot of things. I can even pivot. I can try something today. I can do something tomorrow, and so on, right? So this is one way to look at it. Secondly, let's say someone who does not have means to sustain themselves, right? Uh, but they do not have any obligation. Still, you can go in for it. Things, right? You have probably you've started earning, or you have a credit card, or maybe ability to take loan, or maybe friends and family who would loan you something. If your venture is capital intensive, if it doesn't require capital and people are upfront paying you for service and then you are doing it, then it's fine, right? But if it requires upfront capital to be able to procure something and then deliver something, or build something and deliver something, right? Or maybe a service which requires some raw materials before you are fulfilling those services and so on, you need some working capital to kickstart things. But that is not something that you will keep needing. It's just an one-time infusion that you would need. If you can get it from your family, friends, or wherever you can secure, you should be able to do it. Third thing is, if you do not have means to sustain and you have obligations also, then what would you do? Then you cannot just say that, okay, ठीक है, मैं अपना तो manage कर लूँगा, but what about your obligations? So let's say, for example, your father has taken a home loan, and he was counting on that when you start your job, you will start paying the home loan EMI, right? Or you have taken a car, or you've taken a phone on EMI, and you have to keep paying for it, and your phone is where you are creating your content and all also, right? Then what would you do if you cannot keep your phone with you and so on, right? So all these challenges are there. So these are three contexts. So in this scenario, what would you do? Then you should have an alternate source of income. Once you have income coming in, then only you will be able to take risk. And once you have conviction that I have enough to sustain myself for, let's say, next 4, 5 months, 6 months, and that is the time till I can experiment, I should be able to do that. Now this can happen at any age, right? Though intelligence exists since childhood, it will always be there. It's something that you get at the time of birth, right? Wisdom is what you earn over a period of time. So as soon as you are wise enough to understand that I can sustain myself for 5 months, 6 months with obligation, or this wisdom that I have safety net, I can do it, right? Or this wisdom that, okay, I don't have safety net, but still I can survive with an initial infusion of money. Whenever this wisdom has come to you, irrespective of age, even if you are 14 years old, even if you are 16 years old, you are 30 years old, you are 60 years old, it should not matter. You should be able to start your venture.
I will tell you how I entered and how my journey. In my first year of my college, my father said this thing: कि the money, if you let's say ask me 1,000 rupees, I will give you 1,500 rupees for your whole college life. But after that, I'm not going to pay. You are on your own.
Right.
And for first 6 months, it was hard for me, very honestly, after college. But then I started making money.
Right.
Okay. Then I worked for a couple of years. Then what happened, I always have a dream to do something of my own. My mother always want that my son should not go and do a job. Okay? If you want to do a job, it should be a government job. It should not be a private job. So my mother always want. So that is how I decided, let's do something. When I put the resignation, there is a huge fight happened in my home. Okay? But somehow I managed it and I come home.
Right.
Okay? Then I start doing it. I will tell you one thing. When I decided to leave my job, at that moment I was making 1 lakh rupees approximately per month. So I decided, let's give a shot and see how markets are going to work. So that is how we started. Then my one of the seniors said this thing to me. Yeah, our first 6 months will be it will go good, but after 6 months you face challenges for sure. It's एक होता है कभी कभी जवान में सरस्वती बैठी होती है, and that how happened. But he also mentioned after 1 year something good will start happening.
Right,
So that
right.
is how the journey started.
Correct.
Then a lot of people start reaching out to me. A lot of heads start coming on the platform. That is how we started. So that is how things happen for me. My another question to you is, so someone let's say who want to start something of his own, okay, and you let's say decide कि यार what 3 things you are going to see कि यार this guy can become successful in that field.
Right. So, just to be open around here, right? So at Fitsol also we are backing startups, right? When we say backing, it's more like a strategic investment that we are doing. It's very small, right? A couple of lakhs that we put in as seed, just to kickstart certain startups that we really believe in. So how do we do that, right? So how do we identify that this person will be able to do something, right? One, definitely we see whether there is an alignment with our things of business and our roadmap. Probably sometime down the line we might need them, right? So for example, that is one of the criteria. Second, again, addressable market for the problem that they are trying to solve should be huge, right? Third, whether these founders will be able to do what they are promising or not, right? And of course that comes from, as I said earlier also, they should have the necessary pedigree, they should have the necessary understanding of the craft, what it takes to build a business in that particular domain, and so on. So we have a discussion, like couple of discussions with these people, and we help in multiple ways. Probably we'll give them office space to work out of, right? We'll give them some sort of technology bandwidth, right? Okay, we have interns or we have people, they can work with them so as to just get them kick-started with things until they are able to find their tech partner, tech co-founders and so on. Or maybe the business that they are currently doing, whether that business is something that effectively will help us down the line, right? So these are certain criteria that we look at at Fitsol, right? But generally also, right, if I had to invest someone personally, right, and I had to say, okay, whether this person, same thing will follow, right? Whether the problem is large enough that they are trying to solve, whether they are capable enough to be able to work on that problem, and what have they demonstrated. So what has been their pedigree, whether it is job, college, or something like that, that gives us some sort of assurance that this person has necessary acumen to be able to fulfill the promise that they are making right now. So it's like that.
Okay. And now you mentioned that you guys are putting some seed capital. So now I will tell to my audience, guys, Fitsol is also putting some seed capital for the startups. If you are interested to do some kind of startup, you can reach out to my close friend.
Right, right. Yeah, do reach out to us if you are working in sustainability. It could be capital, it could be supports. In whatever way we will be able to support you guys, we will be definitely wanting to do that, because we want that ecosystem to thrive, right? We can't do everything alone, right? If we are touching upon certain aspects, there might be adjacent problems that we, even if we want to, we cannot solve, because maybe bandwidth constraint or domain constraint and so on, right? There will be multiple things that would follow. So if we are able to have people, say for example, a very small thing that we work with a lot of MSMEs, right? Now these MSMEs, essentially the core problem with them is they have all the setup, everything in place, but they struggle with financing, right? So though we cannot finance, we are not an NBFC, but if someone is working into MSME financing and all, why not? We will tie up, we will give them, we have distribution, we know people, right, who would want the money, right? You can do underwriting, you can deploy your capital and earn interest on that. So those kind of things we can support for just to kickstart your business, and then from there, of course, if you have acumen, you will definitely be able to go about doing those things. So that is the intention, that we want that ecosystem to thrive. Things that we cannot do should be undertaken by bright people. They should be able to solve it on ground with us, for us, however it works out.
That is the reality. What I feel na, if one of my role model is the Sanjeev Bikhchandani, founder of InfoEdge.
Right.
Okay. He also mentioned this thing, that if someone is ready to put his whole life to build something, one single thing, and there are multiple places to you to become lucky,
Correct.
तो something well is going to
Correct,
happen for sure. मतलब ऐसा तो हो नहीं सकता आप कुछ ना कर पाओ.
Correct, correct.
Maybe you somewhere not able to find opportunity in any area.
Correct.
Maybe you will find in Bangalore,
Correct.
maybe in Mumbai,
Correct.
maybe in Hyderabad.
Correct.
So something you are going to figure out if you are ready to put your whole life.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And it is a game of consistency.
Correct.
Over a time period you will build a brand.
Correct.
Okay. That is how the really things work.
Correct, correct. That obsession is very important. If you are not obsessed about the idea that you are trying to solve for, you won't, because one obstacle comes and your entire conviction will go for a toss, right? So it's like, even if you don't have money, so we are in that ecosystem, and we speak to a lot of startup founders day in, day out, right? We keep meeting people and so on. In our circle also, we have a lot of them right now, and that's the common theme we have seen. Not being paid, like didn't have money for last 4-5 months, still struggling कि कुछ हो जाए, कैसे तो कर लें, solve करना ही है, not giving up and so on, right? So that obsession is what helps them keep going. So if that is not there, तो फिर तो फायदा ही नहीं करने का.
That is certainly the true thing. And very honestly, na, if someone comes and say to me कि यार गौरव, I do not have the money, and due to that I am not able to do something big or something, start my own.
Right.
This is the biggest lie.
Right, right. Correct.
ये सबसे बड़ा झूठ है.
Correct, correct.
ठीक है. But I have seen over the time period कि if you want to do some, जो करने वाला होता है ना उसकी बात में करने की जरूरत है.
Correct.
कि भाई मैं करूँगा.
Correct.
And let's see कि what is going to happen.
Correct.
ठीक है. So that is how the things really look like. My other question to you is कि what you guys see inside a person when you are hiring, let's say, for some senior role in your company, what 5 things you are going to see into that person?
Right. So if you are hiring for any key role, right, or any role, it's not that if you are hiring, let's say, a VP finance versus a software engineer, right?
Let's into product or AI generalist kind of a role or founder.
Right.
office.
So let's say, for example, we are hiring for founder's office, for example, right? Or we are hiring for. So what I'm trying to say is that it doesn't matter who or what role we are hiring for, right? The idea is that whether they will fit into the culture or not, right? So there are a couple of things, right? So first thing is hygiene, whether at the craft level. So be it sales, life में फोड़ा है कि नहीं फोड़ा है, या फोड़ सकता है कि नहीं फोड़ सकता है. As simple as that, right? So either they have been very great at sales in their past life, or they have an acumen, they understand how sales works, and they have done certain things around it. Maybe some sort of pilot, maybe did something at college level, at fest level and whatnot, right? So something would show, right? So
certain level of exceptionalism.
So craft तो होना चाहिए. Craft is hygiene. Craft cannot be learned. हम startup हैं यार, we are very lean. We cannot have people. हम इंटर्न भी हायर करते हैं ना आज की डेट में, तो काम ही कराते हैं. सिखाने वाला टाइम नहीं है हमारे पास. हम ये नहीं बोलते कि यार हम इंटर्न्स हायर कर रहे हैं, आओ हमारे यहाँ सीखो. हम IIT से भी इंटर्न हायर करते हैं, NSIT से भी कर रहे हैं, IIIT से भी कर रहे हैं, लोकल कॉलेजेस से भी कर रहे हैं हायर. एवरीबडी कम्स एंड वर्क्स. एक्सपेक्टेशन बहुत क्लियर है कि यार आओगे, कोडिंग कराएंगे तुमसे. ऐसा नहीं है कि तुमसे हम सिखाने के लिए कि चलो आज तुम ये सीख लो, तुम ये
कोचिंग थोड़ा ना खोली हुई है.
कोचिंग नहीं खोली हुई है भाई. मतलब इतनी बैंडविड्थ नहीं है. सो at large organizations, MNCs, and also let's say Microsoft, right? When they would hire intern, their intention would to build relationship with campus. Their intent would be to have more employee friendly practices, give flavor to young people how a corporate life looks like. अब हम एग्जिस्टेंशियल क्राइसिस में रहते हैं रोज़, है ना, हमें तो सर्वाइव करना है. सो वी वांट मोर हैंड्स एट लीस्ट कॉस्ट पॉसिबल, राइट? सो इट्स नॉट दैट वी आर एक्सप्लॉइटिंग देम. देयर इज़ एन अपॉर्चुनिटी, देयर इज़ फ्रीडम. वी डू नॉट प्रेशराइज देम कि ये तुम्हें टास्क 2 दिन में करना है, राइट? वो एक्सपेक्टेशन नहीं है. बट फोकस इज लर्निंग बाय डूइंग, राइट? कि आपको टास्क देंगे, वो आपको कंप्लीट करना है, हम आपको बैंडविड्थ देंगे. मे बी 20-30% टाइम वी विल बी ग्रूमिंग यू, टेलिंग यू हाउ टू डू इट, बट रेस्ट ऑफ द टाइम यू हैव टू फुलफिल कि जो टास्क दिया वो तो करना ही है, राइट? सो इवन व्हेन वी आर हायरिंग इंटर्न्स, इट्स द सेम कट ऑफ क्राइटेरिया. हाइजीन should be great. You should have demonstrated in your past life, in your resume, in your projects, that you have done whatever you are supposed to do. Second, interview process, right? When we are doing interviews, 2 to 3 rounds of interviews would happen, where we will be first doing domain level interview, where we will only talking about domain, whether this is then cross functional. So if I am hiring in engineering, someone from sales will interview as well and say that, okay, whether this person is culturally okay for our organization or not. Tomorrow I bring in a business and I'm talking to this person ki I need some support, whether this person will be able to support me or not, right? So that is another aspect. And then third round will be the leadership round, where they will be interacting with one of the leaders, irrespective. Even if engineering hoga, to it will definitely happen with me, but another leader will also interview them, asking them whether, like doing the culture fit sort of a thing, right? Whether they will be able to assimilate with multiple teams, whether they are part of the growth, they want to be part of the growth story or not, do they display owner mindset or not, and so on, right? So craft, definitely hygiene, ownership mindset, definitely hygiene, right? uh, Ability to work in difficult situation, definitely hygiene. Rest, everything is learnable. It's like when you come onto the into the domain or organization level or ground level, we will give you opportunities to learn, we'll give you platform to learn, we'll give you necessary tools also. Like for example, right now everybody in the organization has access to Claude, whether they want to use Claude Code, Claude Design, or just for the research purpose and so on. So everybody has access free of cost from our side, just to be able to become more productive. So today, if you are X, our expectation is that next year you should be 3x, next year you should be 5x, and so on, right? So you should have constant growth. If you are not growing, right, either professionally or personally, from that perspective, we will, this place is not for you. It's as simple as that. So you have to keep growing personally as well as professionally within the organization. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
So totally fine, yeah, totally fine. देखो, at the end of the day, very very important. Let's say, just want to ask one thing. कि if someone, let's say, what you guys, let's say, look. Let's say someone is just pure fresher. What three things you are going to look into that? That is my first question.
So, of course, as I said, problem solving, ownership mindset, high accountability. So basically, high agency, right? If I look from a product lens perspective, good problem solver, very high agency, right? And ability to speak with anyone and everyone, right? Articulation of your thought process, right? It should not, and language doesn't matter, right? Be it Hindi, English, it doesn't really matter, as long as you are able to articulate what is in your head, right? Bring everybody on the same page, right? So these are certain things that we look at. Three specific things.
My another question, because that is a fresher rule.
Right.
Let's say if you go into any person with having 3 to 7 years of work ex,
Right.
what three things will look?
So over and above these three things will be craft. Now you should have, in 3 years you should have mastered your craft, right? You should be exceptional in your role. That is one. Second, culture fit. Now that you've learned certain things, you have a way of doing things. Whether that way of doing things is flexible or not, and whether your way of doing things will align with the way of things we do at Fitsol. Otherwise, if it is not matching, tomorrow one or the other person will have problems, and then you will find it not a place that you would want to work with, and we can't keep hiring, right? So these are another two things that we look at.
ठीक है, thank you so much. It was a nice conversation with you today.
Yeah.
ठीक है, मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा आपसे मिलके
Thanks,
बात करके.
Gaurav. Thank
Sure
you
यार.
so much for having me, and I hope I was able to,
नहीं,
share
I learn a
relevant
lot from you.
experience for your
I learn
folks.
a lot from you.